Yes.
But that's one of the reasons that Tolkien actually lands, because he's got this correct orientation. Yeah, you need all three parts to be a good man, but if you don't have this one first, you're not going anywhere.
Sam, I'm curious what you have on that, because that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, what was going through my head while you're saying all this is man, I wish people who only watched the movies knew what you just described. Like, my wife, she hates Frodo as a character, and one of the things we do is, I'll read Lord of the Rings to her, and she'll fall asleep to it, and she always hates like the Frodo parts, and I'm like, honey, like, you don't understand, like, he's so different in the books than in the movies, and for all those reasons that you just described. And I think something that I've noticed too, I mean, the idea of that like priestly character effect, I mean, I wonder, the thing that really stands out to me is how much his failure weighed on him afterwards. Like, obviously his life led up to that point, and that was the climax, that was the pinnacle, and like his whole, training, if you will, this entire journey was led up to that point, and he failed. And then he's left with a physical mark of that failure in the loss of his finger, right? And so even though everyone's giving him props and dabbing him up for like, hey, good job destroying the ring, they see he's missing a finger and they want to know the story. And I can't imagine like the shame and the guilt that he feels in trying to share that. And that's the human side of him. I see, that's the human side of Frodo that, as you pointed out, like there is no one divine character outside of Eru, of course. But like, outside of like you looking at Gandalf and Aragorn and Frodo, like none of them are a messianic one for one, because they all have their own flaws, they all have their own insecurities. And for Frodo, he's got his big moral failure, if you will, at the very end of his story, which you could also attribute to divine will in some respects. Like Tolkien says, nobody could resist the power of the ring, and so you can cut him a little bit of slack, but he didn't cut himself slack. Like, he was different after that point. And I mean, yeah, it looks like he got a thought in mind.
Well, Tolkien says, I don't consider this a moral failure, because I deliberately wrote Frodo to go to the point where you break.
Yeah.
And yes, that has to do with eucatastrophe. And sort of the limitations of Frodo's character, because the failure is objectively true. Right? There's no escaping it. But both Aragorn and Legolas do not consider Frodo a failure, because he's gotten to this point beyond where he can actually continue to act as an agent.